We're starting the show tonight with breaking news. Ginny Simone learned, and that's why she's joining us. Ginny, thank you for being here with us tonight. Learned after Daily News aired, learned from attorney Evan Knappen that there had been a major breaking news in the Brian Aitken case, and so we couldn't get it for that, so we wanted to bring you in and get us up to speed with what's going on. What'd you hear?
I can only say the way we all reacted when we heard that news. Can you imagine Brian getting that news tonight?
And what the news was?
The news was he is out of prison as soon as they'll let him out. And I talked with his dad, and his dad was basically speechless. He was just saying, Merry Christmas. This is what we prayed for. Can you imagine all these weeks they had gone to the governor, asked to have this pardon issued, just waiting and waiting and hoping and hoping. And Evan, I think you can maybe explain what it's all been like for this family. Evan
Knappen, Brian's attorney, joins us. Evan, how are you, sir?
Great. Oh, I'm so happy. What a happy night.
So tell us exactly what has happened here in the case. What's the development here?
Okay, well, the development is what we have all worked so hard to bring about, and that is Brian out of state's prison. As you may know or recall, Brian, unfortunately, was sentenced to 7 years in state's prison because he legally possessed firearms. It was an incredible, gross miscarriage of justice. The judge in the case had refused to give the jury the exemptions to the law so that they could acquit Brian. New Jersey's entire gun law is based on exemptions, and if a judge does not give the exemptions, in this case moving between residences, to the jury, then the jury's hands get tied and they are not able to do their job. And so this is not only a victory for Second Amendment, but also for due process. For the 14th Amendment, your right to a jury trial as well. And this is a great day. We really want to thank Governor Christie for doing the right thing and having the courage and the wisdom to do the right thing here. I think in the history of the United States, I think this is the first time, I know of no other, where an individual who is serving a prison sentence for a possessory gun offense has had a full commutation of their sentence.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's great news. And Evan, for folks just joining us or haven't heard about this case, just give us a quick backstory on what happened to Brian.
Okay, Brian was moving from Colorado to New Jersey with firearms that he lawfully acquired from a dealer while a resident of Colorado, went through the background check, the 4473, the whole bit. He checked with before coming to New Jersey. He saw the exemption allowed you to have your firearms cased, unloaded, locked in the trunk, and you could move, change residence. He was 100% within the law. He was in the process here, moving here, had his firearms, being transported accordingly. The police ended up coming to him because his mother was concerned that he may have been upset, just a mother's concern, but he was fine. But nonetheless, in New Jersey, that ended up leading to a full search, and Brian consented to the search. He felt, hey, he's a law-abiding guy, he's nothing to be afraid of, and he ended up being convicted of unlawful possession of these handguns. And in New Jersey, the penalty is so draconian, it was raised under the Corzine administration to a second-degree offense. You face up to 10 years in jail with a presumptive 7 years and a minimum 3 to 4. So that if you're convicted, there's no discretion for the judge. You are going to state's prison. And if you get a judge who refuses to give the exemptions to the jury, you're going to state's prison. And this exemption that Brian relied upon is the same exemption that virtually every gun owner in New Hampshire relies upon. The same exemption that allows you to possess firearms in your home is the same exemption that allows you to transport them while you change residences. So this case and this action by the governor speaks volumes for all gun owners across the country, and particularly in New Jersey. It's a great day for Brian, and it's a great day for gun rights.
And, you know, and Evan, you called this the perfect storm of injustice. And as you said, it really did strike a nerve with people not only in New Jersey, but across this country.
It's because it was just so outrageous. And the reason it's the perfect storm is because of the combination of factors that came to a head. And if there's any silver lining here, it's the wake-up call that this case has delivered. And that's because when you combine a minimum mandatory draconian penalty for mere alleged unlawful possession of a firearm, and then combine that to an exemption-based state, and you just get one bad judge who refuses those exemptions to a jury, and any person could end up a Brian Aitken, who's an otherwise law-abiding gun owner.
Evan, can anything be done about a judge like this? Can the citizens of New Jersey? I know, let's be happy that he's out, of course, let him enjoy his holidays, but what's next for this judge?
Governor Christie has now done two very important and wise things. First of all, he did not reappoint Judge Morley, and he did not reappoint him not because of this case, because his non-reappointment actually occurred after this case, but before the sentencing of Brian, so the non-reappointment, and now this action by the governor reaffirms the reasons for non-reappointment of this judge. This judge had a number of controversial decisions, not the least of which involved one crazy case where a law enforcement officer was charged with receiving oral sex from six baby cows, and this judge ruled that bestiality was lawful in New Jersey, and that animal cruelty statute didn't apply. And again, and the point of that decision, though, is even though the facts are bizarre, but the point of that decision was yet again Judge Morley judging the facts and not letting the state have an opportunity for a jury to decide whether the state could prove guilt under the statute. So there, he took away, again, a fact determination from the jury, just like in Brian Aitken's case, he took away the fact determination from the jury. So there's a pattern of behavior with this judge not allowing the juries to make the decisions.
I've got to ask you, Evan, when the governor grants a pardon like this, does that mean that Brian's record will be completely clear? Do you know that?
No, in this case, what we did, we wanted to get Brian out of jail right away, and if we had asked for a full pardon, then what would happen is the normal is, well, we got to let the appellate court run its course, and we wanted Brian out, and we're confident in our appeal. This is such a gross miscarriage of justice. We're very confident, and I'm proud to say as well that the National Rifle Association is supporting us in all our legal efforts, and they've been standing by Brian, and not only the NRA, but also the state affiliate to the NRA, the Association of Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, and Scott Bach particularly is president and board member of the NRA. And the NRA, I want everyone to work behind the scenes with Scott Bach and all to also make this happen. And that's not out there publicly, but let me say, I appreciate all the help that NRA and the State Association and Scott Bach gave Brian Aitken behind the scenes, and I will vouch for that.
So the next step, this isn't over yet. He's going to get out. Do you know how soon he's going to get out? Brian's going to get out?
Unfortunately, this is so unusual that I have no scale to judge it by. It's as soon as they can just administratively process him. But the problem is in the state prison system, I don't know exactly what that entails because this would be so unusual. But I assume, at any time now, he'll be home for Christmas for sure. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow or the next day, he'll be out. I hope, the commutation order did say as soon as it can get done administratively to do it.
But the next step, you say, is the appeal?
Yes, where the appeal is still going to be ongoing, and this is important because this case will stand to affect thousands and thousands of other New Jersey gun owners who depend on these exemptions to be told to juries, and not only in terms of Brian not being a convicted felon, we need to reverse this, but we need to reverse this so that the gun owners of New Jersey are protected so that we don't have another Brian Aitken.
Hey, Evan, question for you. Talk a little bit about this. this case really resonated with folks because it was sort of like in the situation, Ginny, in New Orleans, where people would think, well, people always say this is going to happen, but this will never happen. What happened to this guy was an incredible story. It just someone trying to do the right thing, and they end up from here to being in prison. It's just, that I think this has impacted people so much because of what happened to this guy.
It has.
Yeah, and I think people look at him and say, it could have been me.
Yeah.
It is, and they either say that or they say, oh, there has to be something more. Let me tell you, folks, there was nothing
There's
more.
nothing more.
There is nothing more. This is just as outrageous. This is why Governor Christie issued his pardon. This is why people are so excited and why it's resonating, because it is just that outrageous, and it shows you what can happen when you have this combination of gun control and legislators and judges who take it upon themselves to judge facts, and anyone is vulnerable. So we have to be vigilant. We really do need to change the laws in New Jersey to provide more insurance that something like this doesn't happen again.
And I mean, it is great news. And all I could keep thinking of whenever we reported on this story is, what must Brian be thinking, sitting in that jail cell, knowing he did absolutely nothing wrong? He had a judge that wouldn't let the full story be told, and he never knew if he was going to see the light of day again.
Yeah.
That's he's amazing. He knows and understands the greater significance. If anything gave him hope was how important his case is to others. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's a miserable experience and a raw deal, and he missed his family, and he had employees and all that depend upon him, and so many people that care about him. That all helped to keep his spirits up. But it's a difficult situation for anyone, and particularly someone who knows they didn't do anything wrong, and in fact gave their best efforts to do everything right.
Yeah.
Hey, Evan,
I can't wait to talk to Brian myself.
Let me ask this question, Evan. What is a citizen of New Jersey who gets wrong like this? Is there any legal recourse he can take against the state, or is there any restitution, or how does it work there?
I'm not sure on the civil front. That remains to be seen. It'll have to go through appeals and see where we're at. But at this point, we're just glad that Brian has been released from his incarceration.
Oh, no kidding.
We're so proud of the governor for doing this and for having the courage and wisdom to do it. I think he's a hero to gun owners throughout the nation, and to Brian and his family, and to all of us who thank him.
And what's the message you want legislators and judges to take from all of
Judges
this?
especially, wow.
Well, the message judges should take is absolutely do not fail to give people their day in court and let a jury decide facts. Do your job as a judge and give the law, and don't decide the facts. Let the jury decide the facts, and make sure that you give the jury the law that they are entitled to have, so they can do their job and weigh the evidence and weigh the exculpatory and inculpating evidence, and come to a proper decision, which is outright under the Constitution, just as important as the Second Amendment. I treasure the entire Constitution, and this stands for more than Second Amendment rights, and the Second Amendment rights don't stand alone. There's an interplay through the Constitution, and we have to see that all the rights are enforced, and at the trial level is where it begins.
And like Brian's dad said, Merry Christmas.
That's right.
And what a Christmas present.
Merry Christmas.
Well,
Merry Christmas, that's right.
On
Good
Friday, with his counsel, and just last Friday, and they were very receptive. And my other lawyers in my firm, Richard Gilbert, and my brother Louis Knappen, we all worked really, really hard on this, on the entire case. We never really expected that we would lose. I mean, we were convinced the jury would have acquitted him. There's just no doubt in our mind.
Hey, Evan, before we let you go, we've got a call here. Can we take a quick call with you?
Dan from Minnesota, not at the game.
Hey, Dan.
Hello, how are you?
I am great. What's your question, sir, or comment?
Well, my comment is this. I was just listening to what your program was about, and, I ran for the Court of Appeals here in the state of Minnesota in this past election. There were a few of us who actually took the charge to challenge what has been going on here in Minnesota, and that is we are supposed to elect all of our judges so that they are accountable to the voters. That's what our Constitution says. but the judges themselves control their own election rules. And those rules have really kept the people ignorant of who the judicial candidates are and any challengers, and then they capitalize on the rules by being the only people on the ballot that have that little tag incumbent next to their name, and most people will vote for the incumbent if they don't know anything else. And I just wanted to say, God bless you for the effort that you have and pushing this, because when I would go out and speak to people, just so you know, this is no fly-by-night thing. I was endorsed by multiple parties, including the Republican Party, and received over 48% of the vote as a challenger, spending probably less than, I don't know, $10,000, $12,000 on a statewide race.
Well, in New Jersey, judges are not elected. Judges are appointed.
When they lost the right to vote.
Hold on, sir. Go ahead, Evan.
In New Jersey, judges are appointed. They're not elected. And so they go through an appointment process. And if Judge Morley had received his second appointment from Governor Christie, had a lifetime tenure. Yeah. So thankfully, Governor Christie's non-reappointment not only didn't put him back on the bench, but didn't put him back on the bench for life.
And Evan, you got to know, Governor Christie is a former prosecutor. He wasn't happy with this judge and his rulings. You got to know that all plays a part in why he made this decision.
Absolutely, Jenny. It makes it even more significant when you know that a guy like Governor Christie, who was a prosecutor and normally on the side, obviously favoring prosecution, recognized the injustice here. Mm-hmm. And did the right thing.
Absolutely. And Evan, gosh, we can't thank you enough for doing what you did for
Brian
Brian and the
family.
family.
Thank you guys for all the support from you, from the show, from NRA, from everyone listening and writing, and it was everybody's effort. It paid off, and we have really made a difference and sent a message and freed Brian, freed an innocent man. He'll be home for the holidays with his family, and we all can be proud and happy about that.
And Evan, before I let you go, a quick talk back on this. Eric in St. Cloud, Minnesota says, I just made a donation to the NRA ILA because of this case.
Nice.
Well, hey, the NRA ILA and the NRA Foundation and the NRA, all, the entire brotherhood of NRA has been stood firm, and I thank everyone for that. It's been great, and your help has always been tremendous and made a difference.
And Evan, and thank you, sir, for being there for us as well and bringing us the story. We appreciate
My pleasure,
it.
guys.
And go feed your dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, John,
I just had my son throw him out. He wanted to do a toss back or something, I think. There. Sorry about that.
See you, Evan.